And I guess it's not about giving as such, giving all of yourself. It's about giving value about who you are, because you're going to get that back in return. But always remember, do that without expectation, because if you're expecting something and you don't get it back, well, then it fucks around with you. Anyway, I'm going to go through some of these comments that have come through. But once we do that, I'm going to go through some of the topics, because we're about 10 minutes in and we haven't started on the topics yet. How good are we going? Absolutely. And we're so off the cuff. It's so good. Hayden says, agree. If you can't look after yourself, you can't look after anyone else. Absolutely. Someone mentioned that to me yesterday over a coffee. So that was Tony I actually spoke to yesterday. So that was interesting. So he admitted it. So I was going to keep that hush-hush. But anyway,
good.
Liz says, thank you for the reminder to fill up a cup first. Lately, I've had too many holes in it whilst I rescued others. I know that's a big one, Liz. I know Liz quite well, actually. So I know that she's kind of like that in her personality. So, Liz, my message is to you is really look after yourself, number one. And then you can help so many more people. It's not greedy to secure your own situation and your family, says Hayden.
Of course.
And Dave says,
of course.
my tenant just asked me what about when you have kids. That's a good question. We'll get into that in a moment. He's 20 and already has 2 kids. So what do you reckon about, before we get into those topics, what do you reckon about David's question about having kids? I've got an opinion on it. I'm not a father, but I do have an opinion on it. Tony, I might throw it over to you first.
What do you mean specifically when you say having kids?
In relation to what David's saying is, am I looking after my kids first or me first? Yeah,
no,
I agree.
Me first. Always me first.
Same opinion.
Always me first. So why? Because I can only control me. And trust me, I've got a 16, almost turned 17-year-old, and I have about that much control over him, right? So, and I've got
less than that, Tony. Less than that.
Kids. Yeah, less than that, right? So that's the reality. But always me first. But that is not. I don't believe that's selfish. It's about me getting myself right, getting myself into the right headspace, putting my own mental and physical well-being as a priority, and then I have so much more to give. It's not that I don't give to my kids, but I just put myself first, and then I can give even more.
I just think you often become. You need to be selfish. It's not probably a great term to use, but selfish to be selfless. And I think that's really important. Let's get into the topics, Tony, today.
Oh, that's right, the topics.
It's some great discussion already, and sometimes that we don't need any topics. We can just bounce off the interaction.
No, we don't. Don't.
You know, we may as well go through some of the topics and ideas. First
okay, we might as well.
I wanted to, it's a general question around what affects you. Now, I'm not thinking about you personally, Tony, but I'm thinking about the whole idea about what affects us. What affects an individual?
Yep.
Where do we need to go with things? I'm thinking about the effects first, not the response yet, but the effects.
Well, there's plenty of things that can affect us, and that is when things go wrong. Stuff doesn't go to plan, for example. So you have a plan, it could be the best well-scripted plan, and it doesn't go right. And that happens, and that's called life. You know, we want to try and plan things. We want to try to predict what's going on. We want to increase certainty, but there's this whole lot of uncertainty from this moment forward. I don't know what's going to happen in 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5 days, 5 weeks. And so things that go wrong, that's what can affect us. And they can vary based on what you're doing. You know, from small things going wrong, you know, right through to, you know, death, illness, and all those types of things. So, and anywhere in between. But that's what
and thinking about that a little bit further, Tony, obviously, you know, what if your sporting team loses? What if you have a bad day? You wake up on the wrong side of the bed? What if you fall off a bike or you trip over running? What if you're trying to achieve a goal? And for example, I'm running every day, 7Ks a day, and I sustain an injury. You know, and you get to the point of something affecting you. Over to you.
Yep, that's right. That's right. So do you want me to give you what to do next, or because they're all examples, right? So what to do next? The first thing that you do is it's the next bit, which is the most critical. The next bit is, what do you choose to do next? So do you choose to dwell, complain, whinge, get angry, get frustrated, blame, have judgment, Or do you choose to accept that that has happened? It mightn't be nice. I'm not asking you to pretend that something bad has happened and pretend that it's all good, because that's just unrealistic and that's a whole lot of BS. It's real and it's happened, but what are you going to do next, and how are you going to respond to whatever that is? So if you get an injury, what are you doing about that? Are you icing? Are you seeing a physio? What are you going to do next? You wake up on the wrong side of the bed. Goodness me, just bloody hell, snap out of it and get on with things, honestly. Because you choose, no, true,
Come
because,
on, people.
because what's happening is we're waking up on the wrong side of the bed. Why? Because we're dwelling about something that's gone wrong. We're looking backwards, right? We're looking backwards. It happens all the time. We look backwards, and what happens when we look backwards enough? We get depressed about things. We get upset about things. We have missed opportunities. Ask yourself, can you change that? No, you can't. How is looking backwards serving you? Probably not very well. You have a choice from this moment forward as to how you respond. It's your next move that is going to be the difference between mediocrity
I think
and success.
what's really important, I kind of generally think about some of the things that are affecting us in our life, just going back to that topic there, is, having that thought process of those things that do affect us and can affect us, of what we're going to feel like afterwards, and how we can actually respond better in thinking about how we are actually going to feel. What's your thought process on that? Like, thinking forward, okay, my sporting team, for example, could win or lose. How am I going to feel? I'm going to, I probably won't worry about the feeling of jubilation, but I'm going to think about the feeling of, what if we lose? How am I going to feel? Is that going to affect me for the next day, 2, a week, 10 weeks later?
Sure. Well, here's the thing. You're basing your feelings on something that you have zero control over. That's risky business.
Well,
That's
most
risky
people
business.
do that each and
You
every
have zero
Sunday,
control.
right?
No, but I'm not saying don't get emotional about your team. But I'm saying if your team loses, your team loses. I understand. Look, I understand the whole sporting psychology, etc. But what I'm saying is that it's out of your control. You can sit in the stands and scream and yell and cheer and swear and whatever. It's not going to change the outcome. And so it's all around what can you do moving forward. But it's something that's totally out of your control. We can only control one thing. And the sooner that we all realise that, the simpler life is going to be. And it's my mission to want to try and simplify things for everyone. I can't. Queensland lost the football. I can't control that. Doesn't mean that I'm happy about it. But they lost the football, right? So I can't control it. So I go, oh, well, I can't control it, and I've got to move on. But that's the thing. Too many people are hinging their feelings, the way in which they feel, based on external factors that they have zero control over.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.